I want to get more people into raiding. Hello everyone, my name is Edrem, animatronic puppet VTuber and content enjoyer, and today I want to talk about a little feature that I wish would be in the game and how it could kind of work, and more importantly, the problem that it solves, right? Because you've probably seen something like this, or if I show you this, you'll probably understand kind of intuitively what this is, right? It's like, oh, this would be the difficulty in the game. And for a long time, people have been asking now of like, oh, where's our little bit over here, right? This is defined by some as the mid-core, even though some define Savage as mid-core and some define Dungeons as mid-core. No one really agrees on mid-core. But what there's generally agreement of is there's this jump in, not necessarily difficulty, but there's definitely a jump between the normal, more casual content and then Extremes, Unreals, Savage, and Ultimate, right? There's a kind of like a learning bump for people to get over. And I want to help people get over that. I want there to be a mechanic in the game that I think would help people get over that. And I think I want to kind of talk about how some of the other ideas don't quite make sense or wouldn't quite work. I think the biggest one though is people talked about making like, yeah, easier content. Let's make mid-core content, but it doesn't really solve the same thing. Like think about it like this. Imagine an extreme you like, pretty good extreme. Now, if I asked you, hey, can you make that extreme 15% easier? What would you do? Like, what would you change? Like, not just a DPS check, like that's not part of it, but make it mechanically 15% easier, right? Move it further down here so it'd be a better entry level into the thing. And it'd be kind of hard to do that because mechanics are very hard to balance around difficulty, and also difficulty of certain mechanics is very subjective. I've seen some people do amazing at certain fights that I struggle at, and then I'm like instantly seeing mechanics that other people struggle at, right? All depends. A good example of this is like Hello, the Lala. That's a fight where you're having to constantly rotate things in your head to try and figure out the safe spot. And that gets a lot of people, but I'm like completely fine at it most of the time. Most of the time. Don't watch my streams when I'm doing that. So the thing here is I want a way to have people to practice these harder content without the burdens that I've seen people talk about, right? What am I talking about? I'm talking about tank anxiety or tank anxiety, and this new term I've come up with is raid anxiety. There are a lot of people that want to get into higher end content, but don't know the, I guess, the cultural and the social dynamics of how to do it. And also they don't want to feel like a burden to the group, which, you know, we have to admit they are. If you're completely new to Extremes, when you're in a group of 7 other people who have done at least some harder content before, that person is the burden on the group, right? They are the one that needs to learn the most. So my idea here is to give them a way to practice and to build up more courage, more confidence, and something called Proving Grounds. Now, some WoW players might be like, oh no, not Proving Grounds. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's exactly WoW Proving Grounds. So this is a feature that was introduced in World of Warcraft Cataclysm. Basically what it is it's kind of like a trust fight. Right? It's kind of a trust fight, but there's separate ones. There's separate ones for tank, DPS, and healer. I want the same thing in 14. I think it'd be very good. And these trust fights, they basically get you to go through and they get you to do a whole bunch of mechanics as your job to kind of successfully do the fight. Now, WoW's problem when it came out was it tied unlocking content to this. So it's like, oh, if you can't do the Proving Grounds, guess what? You just don't get to go and do heroics. Yay. I don't want that. I want this thing to be completely optional, just to be a place that people can go to practice without fear of judgment from anyone. Not even like fear of judgment, but no anxiety over being fear of judgment by someone else. I want them to be relatively short fights, like 4 to 5 minutes max, but also kind of asking you to do a lot of the things that you would do in an actual fight. So, for example, you would not have AoE indicators on these, right? So you would have to actually read what the boss is doing. There would be a light DPS check, not super hard, but at least like, hey, you should be always pressing your buttons kind of thing. There should be the group coordination required, because that is a big thing. That is a big jump in Party Finder, is like, oh, you actually need to do things with the whole group now. You know, there might be light party stacks, there might be pair stacks, there might be clock spots, all these things that need to be kind of organized ahead of time. And then the other thing that we can't really solve, unfortunately, is like learning how to navigate Party Finder for players that are not new to that and don't understand, like, how does Party Finder work? What's the expectations of that? What is a Hector guide? Those kinds of things. But the other stuff we can do. So it'll be a relatively short fight, 4 to 5 minutes max. If you're a tank, I want there to be a tank swap. Because I remember this, when I was new to the game, I did not know that you're meant to provoke during the cast, right? Because that's not really, unless you start to understand the system, you're like, if I provoke during the cast, isn't the boss going to hit me? Shouldn't I provoke after the boss does the big attack? It's like, no. The cast is locked in on a player. So something intrinsically in the game to teach people that would be good. And also just to teach them, like, you know, the basics of tank swapping. For a healer, it's more maybe mitigation of the group for certain mechanics. I would not want people to die at all in these fights, right? Like, not even getting vulns, just getting like a points system of like, oh, you did that mechanic incorrectly, well, we'll give you a debuff. And like, the better they do, the less debuffs they get. The debuffs don't do anything, they're just purely a counter of like your performance during the fight. If we extend it and go really far, it'd be amazing if there's like, hey, you did this mechanic wrong, like, and then the little tutorial at the end of like, here's how you can improve and do that better. But I don't really expect that to be in there. That's a little bit too far in, and I don't expect anything specific to like the current jobs and how they work, because the thing is, I want this to be, I mean, if they do this, it needs to be something that is very low maintenance. So, you know, next expansion comes out, all the jobs change in some small way. You shouldn't want them to have to update this unless they just update the numbers a little bit, although they could probably keep it synced to like what, level 70 they could do it at, maybe starting. So that's the kind of thing there. And for DPS, DPS mostly just do mechanics and stay with your group. I'm not quite sure how to do the idea of like setting up the actual group coordination required. Because here's the thing, this is very different from server to server, right? Currently on JP, we have macros. On EU, you have kind of macros, but they've fallen out of favor for raid plans. And on NA, you have the ridiculous system of waymarks, which, I'm sorry, NA, but waymarks are stupid, and I hate them. So if they do have a system here, I'm voting for macros, where like, hey, maybe an NPC posts the macro, and then you gotta do your little position. You gotta be like, oh, I'm H1. Just because I think it would be funny to force NA to do macro strats. But also that's kind of a thing of like, I don't really expect it to be there, and then you kind of have to have a system to teach players. It might just be better for the point of Proving Grounds to have a unique UI come up to be like, hey, what role do you want? Do you want to be healer 1 or healer 2 in this one? Could potentially even tie into the raid plan system that they've talked about in Dawn Trail. If you're watching this video in the future and it's out, how is it? Is it good? I hope it's good. But have like a read-only version of the raid plan for Proving Grounds that shows you what the NPC trusts are going to do for the mechanics. And then you can like select, you know, which one you want to be. You want to be main tank, off tank. I think that'd be good. It's quite a bit of work, and it's also quite a bit of work that is not for the current endgame players, except for like the very casual ones who want to get into the raiding. So I don't know how popular it is, because currently there seems to be a big pushback about any content that is for like newer players. Seeing the amount of people complain about a lack of content. Well, PvE content. I've got a video about that in the works. So there's some stuff there. But I think generally speaking, it'd be pretty good. As long as it's completely optional, people don't feel the need to have to do this. This is like purely just to build up their confidence in raiding, to get into it. Because I know a lot of people that, like, yeah, they just need a little bit of experience, right? You can like watch guides, you can watch all kinds of things, but actually doing the stuff in game is a very big difference, and I think that'd be good. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of my little opinion, because people want to know, like, hey, what do you want added to the game, right? You seem to be pretty happy with all the things in your other videos defending the game. What would you actually want to have changed? And this is a big one. So yeah, that's all right. Thank you all for watching. And also, I'm asking, do you guys have any ideas for future content that you'd like me to talk about? I've got a few other videos planned in the works, but I need new ideas. So yeah, leave those in the comment. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I'm live over on Twitch 3 days every week, where we're progging Savage and doing cosmic exploration and enjoying the game. So come over and say hi. But yeah. Anyway, that's all. Goodbye.